When most of us hear the word empathy, we think of it as a soft skill, something about being nice. But what if that's completely wrong? In this explainer, we're going to reframe empathy, not as some fuzzy personality trait, but as one of the most practical and powerful tools you can have in your career. So let's just start with that question right there. What if everything we've been told about empathy, that it's just about feeling for other people, is totally missing the point? What if its real value is something way more tangible and honestly strategic? Okay, here is the crucial shift in thinking. Let's redefine empathy in just two simple words: human clarity. See, it's not about being soft, it's about being clear. It's the practical, real world ability to understand people on a much deeper level. And that clarity, that is some serious leverage. To really get this, we've got to dismantle a really common myth. Empathy isn't some vague, feel good concept that you're just born with. No, it's a functional, trainable skill, kind of like learning a new language. It's not soft power, it's sharp perception. This comparison is so important. Empathy isn't about people pleasing or sharing all your feelings. It's actually the opposite. It's about having the internal space to really understand unspoken motivations, to sense hesitation before anyone even says a word, and to hold conflicting points of view without rushing to a judgment. Now that is a true strategic advantage. So how does this human clarity actually translate into a business advantage? It's simple, really. It reduces risk. Think about it. Almost every major professional decision, from hiring someone to funding a startup, is emotional first and rational second. Empathy gives you a window into that crucial emotional layer. Just let this quote sink in for a second. A resume, it lists skills, right? But it doesn't show you someone's judgment, their temperament, or how they're going to handle complex team dynamics. Hiring is, at its core, a bet on a person, and we always bet on who we feel safest with. And this is what that empathetic clarity signals to other people. It doesn't just say, hey, I can do the job. It says, I get the nuance here. It says, I'll learn fast. And maybe the most important thing of all, I won't blow up the team. These signals are incredibly powerful because they're addressing the hiring manager's biggest, deepest fear, making a bad bet. So if empathy is a skill you can train, how in the world do you train it? Well, the answer is probably not what you'd expect. It doesn't happen in some workshop. It actually develops subconsciously through repeated exposure to other people's inner worlds. And one of the best ways to get that exposure? Reading. Here's the cool part, the simple neurological process behind it. When you read high-quality fiction, your brain isn't just processing words, it's simulating the experience. It's living through moral dilemmas, internal conflicts, and quiet moments of courage. These imagined experiences literally activate the same neural pathways as real ones, which effectively builds and strengthens your empathy muscles over time. Now, the results aren't going to be dramatic overnight, but they are profound. You start to notice what people don't say. The tone, the timing, the little hesitation. You become less reactive because you're not so trapped in your own story all the time. And you develop a wider emotional range without becoming volatile. You actually feel more grounded, not more exposed. But this isn't just about reading more, it's about reading with a purpose. So let's look at a framework that treats reading not as just a hobby, but as a form of leadership training. Every book here is chosen to develop a very specific aspect of that human clarity. For perspective taking, Ishiguro's novels are basically masterclasses. Never Let Me Go trains you to sense what's being left unsaid, to feel the emotional undercurrent in a room. And The Remains of the Day? Well, that's essential for understanding how senior decision makers think, with that classic restraint, loyalty, and often deep regret. Now, to build grounded confidence and the ability to connect with people from totally different backgrounds, check these out. Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea teaches you about dignity without needing outside validation. That's a core trait of calm, effective leadership. And Tara Westover's Educated is just a powerful study in expanding your empathy across belief systems you may not understand at all. And finally, for understanding how people actually make decisions, these two are absolute must-reads. Stoner will rewire how you see the so-called average person, including your clients and hiring managers, by showing you the incredible depth in an ordinary life. And The Great Gatsby, well, it's just an unmatched study in how to read social power, desire, and performance without becoming cynical. Okay, this part is crucial. How you read is just as important as what you read. It's not about speed reading or taking a bunch of notes. The process is really simple. Just read 20 to 30 pages a day. When a character's feeling or action feels familiar, pause. Then just silently ask yourself, who do I know like this? That simple connection, that's the training. You're mapping these fictional patterns onto your real-world understanding of people. All right, let's bring it all together. The effects of this kind of training aren't immediate. This is not a tactic for instant results. Empathy is a long game, and its real power is in how it compounds, quietly, over time. Think of it like this. A conversation you have today where someone feels genuinely understood, it plants a memory. You might not get the job or close the deal right away, but months from now, that memory is still there. A door opens, but without you having to force it. A conversation just picks back up naturally. This is how you build sustainable, trust-based careers and businesses. And this is why this all matters so much for the future. The leaders people will choose to follow, they won't be the loudest or the ones with the most credentials. They'll be the ones who create psychological safety, who can hold complexity without being arrogant, and who combine their competence with a deep sense of humanity. This is what empathy training really cultivates. So let's end right back where we began. Empathy is not softness. It is the clearest possible lens through which to see the professional world. And in a world that will always be built by people, that clarity is the ultimate form of leverage.